I'm so happy that you are joining me today. This is Quantum Health Connections. I'm Dr. Bonnie Jewell, and today I will be reading to you from my book, Vim and Vigor, Escape the Medical Merry-Go-Round, Reclaim Your Health, and Live a Long and Healthy Life.
Part 2, the 3 contributors to health that you can control. Chapter 5, healthy stuff to put in your body. Many different food lists and diets are available in the world. You've probably tried at least 1 or 2 or more of them. Jumping from diet to diet and fad to fad will confuse the body and put it more out of control. Put it in a situation where it is likely to binge and diets won't work. Before moving on, let's address a common misconception about being healthy and being fit. Most people collapse these 2 concepts and believe they are the same. They are not. Being fit is important in enjoying life. It means that your muscles are strong and perhaps even defined. You are able to lift heavy objects, jog, and run. When you age as a fit person, you are not plagued with being unable to perform tasks such as lifting grandchildren, running a 5K or marathon, hiking, and kayaking. One example of being fit and unhealthy is the example of a person who runs marathons. Carb loading is what a person does the day before a marathon to give the body an extra boost of energy the next day. An unhealthy fit person will carb load by eating regular ice cream, regular brownies, and French fries. The healthy fit person will carb load by eating more fruit, sweet potatoes, real sourdough bread, and perhaps a homemade treat made with fruit and honey or maple syrup. The unhealthy fit person is putting junk in their bodies and foods that significantly increase inflammation and put strain on the heart and other organs. The healthy fit person will eat foods that are high carb and yet mostly filled with nutrients and will focus on foods that do not increase inflammation but support the body's functioning. We've all heard of the person who performs an intense activity like a marathon or bike race, then collapses at the end with a fatal heart attack. This is met with disbelief by those who have equated the ideas of fit and healthy. That person may be fit, but that person is not healthy. A fit body can perform athletically. If that body is fed on refeed or carb loading days with lots of sugar foods, it is not a healthy body. If they are full of anger or other lower emotions, they are fit, but not healthy. To rein it in and create a level of stability for the body, it is important to give it the foundation of what bodies need: healthy, real foods and love. But this section is about the foods. A similar misconception occurs with the concept of being slender and healthy. It is assumed that a slender person is healthy. The thin person may be managing her hunger with cigarettes, or she might be eating all diet packaged foods that are full of preservatives and other chemicals. She may be thin, but she is not healthy. As you move forward in improving your health, always keep in mind your specific needs. This is especially important if you have a diagnosed disease or disorder. There are suggested diets for most health issues. It is your responsibility to become an expert in the diet best for your condition. People have had excellent results by combining the dietary recommendations for their own health condition and the recommendations here. For example, people with kidney disease are usually high in potassium. A lot of recommended foods for optimizing health are high in potassium. If you have kidney disease or are headed that way, many of the recommended foods would not work for you. If this is you, you'll look at the list of foods with low potassium that also qualify as healthy. By these standards here and keep to that list. The body doesn't lie. You can't cheat it. You can't trick it. You can't manipulate it and be healthy. Just to state the message once again, jumping from diet to diet puts the body in a state of confusion. It gets confused and doesn't behave like you want it to. When you get plenty of quality foods, you are more focused and attentive, and you are less depressed, emotional, or reactive. The foods your body needs to function well are quite basic. Your trained reaction might be to try and dodge, avoid, or tweak them. An example is this: if I add just a little sugar to it, that'll be okay. It's not. Adding sugar may cause your body to act out, and your body may act out as it is trying to figure out how serious you are about eating healthy foods. Acting out in the case of your body includes anything that doesn't end up having you feel good. It could include binge eating, skipping exercise, just making choices that aren't nurturing to you. You haven't earned your body's trust. You can expect your body to respond this way for about 6 weeks if you are consistent. If you are in terrible health and are desperate to get healthy, that motivation can cause it to change quickly. But for most people, change takes about 6 months. 6 weeks. For most people, change takes about 6 weeks. The simplest way to start making the shift is by increasing quality foods while decreasing the others. Quality foods. Quality foods are real foods. They have been taken from the ground or fed from the ground and are not interfered with by a human except to wash or prepare for consumption. They have not been tampered with, not even with spices. Vegetables, grains, and nuts. The best foods in this group are local, organic, or sustainably raised. Small farms often cannot afford the high price and a large amount of paperwork necessary to get the designation of organic, but would be considered to be sustainably raised. The next best is local. The chemicals can be detoxified. Local foods tend to have more of the nutrients you need for the environment in which you live. An example of this is local honey, which is commonly used to help against seasonal allergies. The bees use the local flora, and their honey is known to help people with their allergies. This philosophy can be transferred to all local food sources. The next best is organic non-local. Often these fields are downwind of a regular farm. They are still better than the ones that are full on sprayed with chemicals. Frozen organic would be next on your list. You're right that it isn't fresh, but it will have fewer chemicals and still include nutrients. The last choice would be your regular run-of-the-mill grocery foods. Fun fact, leafy green vegetables help pull out toxins of your body. Fruits follow the same rules as vegetables with a slight variation. If you eat its skin, it's best to have unsprayed foods. This is especially true for berries. Raspberries, strawberries, and blackberries are covered with tiny crevices that are virtually impossible to wash the pesticides and herbicides out of. Foods that you peel are the better option. Since fruits are likely genetically modified, you'll need to support your body's detoxification process. That isn't ideal, but it's still so much better for you than the other treats, like a regular candy bar. Proteins. Vegetarianism has been more popular lately due to some movies educating people on how bad the meat industry is. Most of the people taking on this new way of eating are dumping their fast food habits. That in and of itself, due to the increase in vital nutrients and the substantial decrease in food additives and toxins, will improve health when you consider the improved quality of food and the reduction in added chemicals. The long-term problem with this is that your body needs essential amino acids. It also needs fats, which is addressed in the next section. When food is essential, that means that it needs to come from an outside source. The best, most available source of amino acids is from animal products. The most important time to eat protein is breakfast. Healing specific organs with food. Fun fact, if you want to heal an organ, eat the organ or take a supplement with the organ in it. So to heal your liver, you eat liver. Many years ago in the US and still today in other parts of the world, all parts of animals were eaten. Now we mainly only eat the muscles in the form of different cuts of meat. Organ meats are important for enhancing and sustaining health and are available in supplement form today. Fats. We need fats. We also need the cholesterol and the fats from animal products. The one fact that I find striking is that we have been educated on the importance of having low-fat diets. We have also had an increase in neurological issues in our society. The neurological issues include depression, anxiety, and Parkinson's. You have probably heard of essential fatty acids. It is often taken as a fish oil supplement and is one of the most recommended supplements by medical doctors. There's information on the different ratios of the different types of omegas. However, it's important to not get caught in the weeds of information. What you need to know is that not having enough omega-3s creates inflammation and stiffness in your cell walls, which limits the movement of neurotransmitters and hormones throughout your body. What this means for you is that your stiff cells are likely the foundational problem in heart problems, cognitive problems, hormone problems, eye problems, and just your overall health. Grain-fed animals, which is most animal meat found in stores today, don't have enough omega-3 fatty acids. They have plenty of omega-6 fatty acids. So eating grain-fed animals contributes to the inflammation and lack of cell pliability in your body. Grass-fed animals have plenty of omega-3 fatty acids, so they have an anti-inflammatory effect on your body. Animal fats help prevent both depression and neurological issues. Like with everything, you need to consider the source of your fat. Toxins are stored in fats. If you eat animals that are given antibiotics and are fed foods sprayed with chemicals, those items can be stored in the fat. The closer to nature and purer your source of food, the fewer foods you will need to detoxify your body. Best food choice tip. Pro tip: the closer you are to the source where the food originates, grown or raised, the healthier it is for you. Food list rules. The following food list is a baseline to start. Never eat something on the list if you know that you are sensitive to it. Don't eat items on the list if you are dealing with a disease that your special diet recommends against. You can't cheat the system, fake the system, or take shortcuts while restoring your health. If you have bowel issues, skip the wheat, one possible exception being real sourdough. Skip the beans and dairy and be sure to cook the scrapey vegetables. Scrapey vegetables, to be cooked, steamed, lightly sauteed, or baked, are those that scrape or tear you up anywhere from your esophagus, the tube from your mouth to your stomach, to your colon. If you have any irritation in any of these areas, pay close attention to this section. If you are uncertain if a food is scrapey, just put it between your hands and rub it together hard. If it's even a tiny bit rough, it may cause a problem inside of you. Food list. Vegetables, leaning towards scrapey, so best steamed or cooked. Asparagus, bamboo, green bean, beet greens, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, cauliflower, collard greens, kale, mustard greens, pumpkin, spinach, squash, summer or zucchini, Swiss chard, turnips, turnip greens. Vegetables, okay to eat raw: celery, cucumber, fennel bulb, hearts of palm, jicama, kimchi, don't eat if you have a sensitive stomach, lettuces, arugula, butterhead, endive, green leaf, iceberg, red leaf, romaine, mushrooms, green and red peppers, pickles from Bubby's, sauerkraut from Bubby's or another brand with live probiotic only. Bubby's is the best because each batch is different, so you get a variety of balance in the probiotics. Scallions, tomatoes, watercress. Fruits, local and seasoned fruits: avocado, cantaloupe, oranges or tangerines, coconut, fresh or unsweetened, shredded. Lemon, olives, high salt, so in moderation, peach, pear, plum, raspberries, strawberries, blackberries, watermelon. Apples are on the maybe, maybe not list. They can cause bloating and gas. On the flip side, they can also help regulate your bowels, so pay attention to how your body responds. Dried fruits aren't recommended because not only do most have a lot of added sugar, they can also cause stomach issues. They are also dehydrated, so if you eat them, you'll need extra water intake. Carbohydrates, starchy: beans, cooked only, edamame, that's soybeans, hummus, made from garbanzo beans, lentils, cooked only, peas, parsnips, plantains, sweet potato or yams. Carbohydrates that are pseudograins. If you are sensitive to grains, this is your go-to list. Pay attention to how your body reacts. Professional opinions vary on this, so this is a list based on least reactive to the body. Amaranth, buckwheat, look for the hot cereal or pasta. Millet, available in cereal and bread. Quinoa, the pasta usually is made with corn, so best to use it on its own. Teff, wild rice, healthiest choice in the carbohydrate pseudograins. Carbohydrate grains, organic only, limited amount. Brown rice, corn, organic only in moderation and fresh, best to avoid while you are still restoring your health. Einkorn, rye, slow cooked oats, sprouted grain bread, whole wheat. Nuts. These can be irritating or scrapey to a sensitive system, so pay attention to your response. They may need to be avoided in the early part of your health restoration process. Raw almonds, cashews, hazelnuts, macadamia nuts, pecans, pine nuts, pistachio, seeds, chia, flax, hemp, pumpkin, sunflower, sesame. Peanuts frequently are a bit moldy and can irritate the body. If you choose to eat peanuts or peanut butter, make sure that the ingredients are only peanuts and salt, no sugars. Dairy, raw, organic, pasture-raised is best. Blue cheese, unless you have a mold sensitivity, butter, cheddar, cottage cheese, feta cheese, goat, heavy cream, mozzarella, Parmesan cheese, ricotta cheese, Swiss cheese, whole milk, goat or cow, yogurt, plain unsweetened minimum fat, yogurt, plain unsweetened minimum fat at 2%. Protein. If you get game or other local meats with flavoring, such as sausage, be sure to check the ingredients yourself. Some people have significant flare-ups from local, healthy sourced meats that have chemicals added for flavor. If you ask the vendor if it's healthy, they may think it is, but they don't know as much as you do, so they may be incorrect. Be sure to check it yourself. All fish should be wild caught. All meats should be organic and grass-fed. All eggs should be organic, free range, or grass-fed. Okay. Beef, buffalo, chicken, cod, eggs, flounder, game, goat, haddock, halibut, herring, lamb, sardines, shellfish, lobster, shrimp, crab in limited amounts, tilapia, tuna in limited amounts, turkey, and whitefish. A note about longevity and vitality and food. Today, we are increasing the lifespan of people, but most people are not getting healthier as they live longer. They are on more and more medications and experiencing more and more disabilities. If you've witnessed a loved one kept alive with medications and devices, you might be aware of suffering that you personally want to avoid. This isn't a natural process. It may be normal today, but it certainly isn't natural, and it is expensive. In addition, the number one reason for bankruptcy in the US is medical bills. Women statistically experience more poverty than men as they get older. What I've seen in my patient population is women care for their husbands, spend quite a bit of their savings on their husbands' care, outlive them, and end up in poverty. What can you do to interrupt this cycle? And how can you enjoy a life of longevity without committing to a life of rabbit food? If you consider people who have lived quality lives into their 90s and beyond, they often stick to native diets. As you look at native diets, you see real foods. One of the foods that used to be a staple is bread. Today, we have learned that wheat is bad for you and leads to gluten allergies and subsequent health problems. Many attribute this to the genetic modification of wheat, but there is another difference. The introduction of active dry yeast in the 1940s meant that you could make bread fairly quickly and didn't have to wait 8 to 10 hours for the bread to rise. That shortcut interrupted a long fermentation process that creates health for the human body. When the fermentation process takes as long as it does with real sourdough bread, you get lactic acid, which supports gut bacteria. You also get the unleashing of numerous nutrients, which are lacking in modern bread. Because so many habits and desires are ingrained in our DNA and passed from parent to child, is it any wonder that you may crave bread? You might even say that your craving for bread is in your DNA. Basic sourdough has 3 ingredients: sea salt, water, and wheat. If you toss in the secret ingredient of love, now backed by science, you may be able to enjoy this treat again. Being healthy and enjoying a long life includes enjoying your food.
That's it for chapter 5, healthy stuff to put in your body. I think the number one takeaway that will make the biggest difference for you is to remember to look for foods that are as close to the source of where the food originates as possible. And when you do that, you are choosing the healthiest foods for yourself. And the other is to figure out how to enjoy the healthier foods. And there's going to be tips on that coming up, but enjoyment is part of life. And so, really important is the idea of gradually making changes for yourself. And if there's something that you just really enjoy, if that's on the not healthy, if that's considered not healthy, change that one out last, or just wait and see if you can figure some kind of alternative to that. Enjoyment is part of life. Gradual changes are the best. Slow and steady wins the race. If you know the story of the tortoise and the hare, the tortoise wins, and the tortoise is slow and steady, and the hare is just dashing forward and then crashing. And that's what happens when we make changes too quickly, is we crash and burn. Most of us will start berating ourselves and being unkind to ourselves when that happens. But the tortoise, slow and steady. So I hope that helps you think about the recommendations for chapter 5. And if you would like a hard copy, you can get that at the link below. And that does have on page 87 the food list that you could take with you. And during the next episode, I will be reading chapter 6, poisons to stop putting in and on your body. So I'll see you then.